FiLiA means daughter. We are the daughters of the women who came before us, and we fight so that our daughters may be free. We are a women-led volunteer organization. Our vision is a world free from patriarchy, where all women and girls are liberated. We seek to contribute to the women's liberation movement by building sisterhood and solidarity among women, locally, nationally, and globally. By amplifying the voices of women, particularly those less often heard or purposefully silenced, and by defending women's human rights.
Hello, dear visitors. Thank you for coming to the second part of the FiLiA webinar, Sex Trade Survivors Demanding the Global Change. I am Luba Fine from FiLiA. 13 exited survivors from 12 different countries are participating in this webinar. So now our next speaker, Graciela Collantes. She is an Argentinian journalist. As a journalist, she is a member of Red Part, a media network that adheres to the principle of non-sexist communication. Graciela is also a survivor of sex trafficking, sexual exploitation, and prostitution. She was the one who co-founded AMMAR, the first association of prostitutes in Argentina. Later, when AMMAR took a regulationist approach, Graciela left it and founded the abolitionist NGO, AMAD. AMAD is an association of Argentinian women rights. It is focused on the rights of both women and trans prostitution survivors. As the president of AMAD, Graciela fights against the entire prostitution system. Graciela Collantes is a specialist in the formulation and monitoring of gender politics. She published her first book, Our Bodies Are Not to Be Regulated, in 2019. Thank you so much for joining us today, Graciela. Let's listen for you.
Hola.
Good morning, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to say thank you for this invitation, and a special thank you to FiLiA, who is organizing this. And also, I would like to express my thank you from Argentina. I'm very honored to be part of it and being able to meet other participants and other survivors from the world.
Agradecerte a mi traductora, así que
I'm Graciela Collantes, survivor from sex trafficking, and I've been an activist for the last 20 years, fighting for the people in prostitution and against sexual exploitation. And this is a situation that is happening in my country, Argentina.
Más de 20 años que lucho contra esta problemática social de nuestro país y del mundo entero.
Now I'm the president of the Human Rights Argentinian Women Association, created by us, a group of survivors of prostitution and sex trafficking that believe that such violence cannot be considered a job. We created this group when we left the Association of Argentinian Prostitutes. Today, this Association of Argentinian Prostitutes, that they are very controversial, they support the prostitution as work, and they expect the recognition of prostitution of work. They were created, they were very active, and they were giving this idea about prostitution during the 90s. And at that time, there was a great repression for all the women that they were in the prostitution system.
Bueno, después de liberarme del proxeneta, dice, nuestra lucha sirvió para liberarme.
After I could break free from my pimp, I stayed trapped within the prostitution system because of fear, as I was under threats. And I was at that time in charge of my little girl.
Por
At
la
that
falta de
time, there was a
políticas de
mafia
inclusión de
around,
nuestro país.
and they were
En ese
putting
momento
several
estaban
threats on us.
naturalizadas que la
However,
mujer
after a long time,
y
16
naturalizadas
years
las
actually,
mafias, ¿no?
I
La
managed to get
complicidad
some
de
relative
las
autonomy
tropas
that allowed me to
del
talk to other
imperio
women
con
that were in the
las
same
mafias.
situations. I
Eso,
knew I wanted to leave
eso
prostitution,
me
but I did
ayudó
not know how
cuando
to
me pude
do
liberar
it.
y empezar a
I
denunciar.
believe that the
Después de estar
state
16
is
años
also
dentro del
complicit
sistema,
on
quedé atrapada
this
dentro del
situation,
sistema
not
y
giving
por la
us the
falta
opportunity
esto
to
de la
leave when
naturalización de
we
las violencias
wanted the
sistemáticas
system of
y quedé
prostitution.
atrapada dentro del sistema por falta de oportunidades. No sabía cómo salir de este sistema, no sabía qué hacer. Organizarnos.
Yes, during this time when we organized ourselves, we started to understand that there was normalized the situation in Argentina, that because also of the machismo existing, that women were like we had to be submitted to the system. But thanks to the organization, we started to lose this fear and started to report the criminalization that we were suffering because we were tired of so many abuses by the system.
Prácticamente para eso, ¿no? En Argentina,
so getting organized made us aware of what we were confronting the same issues, that somehow there was the situation in Argentina, the state also, was somehow putting us in the position as women that because of, without having resources, without being supported, then we were trapped somehow in a vicious circle during these years. And we ask ourselves, why women we have to be available for men satisfaction? What about our rights? What about our condition of citizens in the country?
Sí, una de las cosas que tuvimos que atravesar en la Argentina, un principio cuando recién nos organizamos.
So during the 90s, from the Argentinian Unions Association, there was a proposal of becoming a union. They called us and they wanted us to become sexual workers. It was a very difficult and time-consuming internal debate within the union's headquarters. But what we learned is that if prostitution became a job, we would continue all our life within the prostitution system. I was part of the prostitution survivors that took an abolitionist position, and for that reason, we were expelled from both the Association of Argentinian Prostitutes and the Union Association. We didn't want an improvement of brothels. We didn't want these kind of things. What we wanted is to leave the system, the prostitution system, and if the laws had been applied, we would be in other position in our days, because we wanted to be part of a future for women, Argentinian women, that is different of belonging to this system of prostitution that somehow it has been naturalized and accepted within the society.
De las propias sobrevivientes, la lucha y desnaturalizar y demandar estas políticas que quería llevar el Estado argentino, hoy hubiéramos sido una más dentro del sistema. En el 2008,
in 2008, we managed to get the first abolitionist law against sex trafficking, and this law was passed and criminalized prostitution, sexual exploitation, and sex trafficking, not criminalizing prostitutes, but criminalizing the pimps and all the system, the prostitution system, all organizations that they were involved in sex trafficking. So with this first law was a tool that gave some support to women to start to report all kinds of abuses. However, I would like to stress that In Argentina, as it is common in the majority of Latin American countries and in general poor countries at global level, this context of pandemic and unemployment are acute, so women, girls, and boys are vulnerable to be deceived and then captured with the objective of exploitation them, to exploiting them sexually. It is very important to recognize the situation of the poor countries, because in our case, and this is something that I'm very interested to explain and to put forward to the global context, that the situation of vulnerability that is brought because of poverty and the current situation is putting countries in Latin America in a level of vulnerability that perhaps other countries don't have. And at the moment, most of the people that they are trafficked, they come from poor countries, and it's something that has to be considered. And something that I want to really stress, that the situation of the system of prostitution, the prostitution system, when it is happening in poor countries, it's really, really serious.
A pesar, digo, nuestra organización, a pesar de que viene luchando hace más de 20 años para visibilizar, para posicionarnos claramente y hacernos escuchar, no tan solo en Argentina, solamente también a nivel Latinoamérica.
The gravity of the situation in Argentina, that we are many survivors fighting day by day during many years, demanding the implementation of abolitionist laws. We have very good laws in Argentina, but they have not been implemented. And this should be translating into the prevention, education, work opportunities, housing for all women that survive prostitution, because what are observing that prostitution and sex trafficking are on the increase. And what we've been doing is, as strategies, we've been trying to visibilize the problem in the streets. So we act in the streets, we talk to people, we try to sensibilize the society that should not be accepting prostitution. We also go to organizations, we give talks, we go to universities, etc. But we had a great problem in Argentina, that the lobby that it's the regulationist lobby wanted to create, to convince the society that that prostitution is a job as anything else, and we don't want this. We don't want. And we have to consider, and this is one of the reasons that I'm here, and I'm really asking help to the global abolitionist movement, and through this webinar, that to help us, because Argentina is the first or the most important provider where the lobby proxenate, the lobby, the pimping lobby is working now, and they are capturing people in Argentina because we are vulnerable. It's a vulnerable country, it's a poor country.
Tenemos que decir, tenemos que contarle y tenemos que hacerle saber que hoy el Estado argentino es el primer promovedor del lobby proxeneta. Quieren reglamentar la prostitución. Quieren que la prostitución sea como otro trabajo, como cualquier otro trabajo. Y nosotras llevamos una lucha de hace más de 20 años, no lo vamos a permitir. Y por eso estamos acá también, para que nos escuchen y nos puedan ayudar. Bueno, no sé cuántos minutos me quedan, pero bueno, esto, volver a agradecer. No sé si quedó claro.
Well, I would like to say thank you again to FiLiA, to the organizer, to all the panelists present. And I want again to stress that we in Argentina, we are fighting really much for an abolitionist objective. And we would like also to stress this situation, that as Latin Americans as part, as not only Latin America, but to say that the poverty of the poor countries make us really the providers of women, that they are going to be trafficking into richer countries, that we are really providing, no, like this women, children to the system, this system that is victimizing so many people. And I also welcome very much this initiative, and I would really ask to continue with this globalization, and this has been the first step. And of course, there is much more to talk. There is no time now, but I hope that this is just the first step, and that we are going to continue with this. Thank you again to everybody, and thank you to FiLiA for this. And
gracias también a Marta por la traducción que me ayudó.
Graciela is thanking me because she says, as she doesn't speak English, she would have been to participate. And Marta would like to apologize for any kind of mistakes that I could have made. And I try my best. Yes? Okay, thank you. Gracias, Graciela.
Thank you so much, Marta and Graciela. It was amazing. And I joined to Graciela. I hope that we will continue this tradition of exchanging knowledge with abolitionists around the world, between abolitionists in general, abolitionist survivors. This could be great collaboration for the future as well. This is your book. This is your book, Graciela.
What is Graciela?
This is Graciela's book, right?
See Graciela's book.
Is it available in English?
Sí. Yes, it's her book. No está traducido, ¿no, Graciela? No, it's not translated, but I volunteered to do it. Yes, she's very moved by everything, by the event, and about the book. She's saying that she managed to write the history of all this fight for abolitionism in her book. But she's very happy to have met all of you.